Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of the Greek New Testament, and I'm reading 1 Corinthians up to chapter 8. And this whole chapter really is about food offered to idols. The term idol is from the Greek eidolon, which means an image. It's got a range of meanings in earlier Greek. For example, in Euripides, in one of his plays, he tells the story that Helen didn't really go off to Troy, that the gods created an eidolon, an image of Helen that went off to Troy, and the real Helen was secreted in Egypt during the time of the Trojan War. Anyway, the word used there is this eidolon, meaning some kind of image, almost like a ghost. It also has that meaning of ghost. Here it's in the sense of an idol, but these are images of gods, which the Christians generally refer to as idols rather than theoi, but they are just images of the gods. The root here is thuo, which is from the root to sacrifice. So idolothuton are the things offered to or sacrificed to the gods or to the idols or images of the gods. So it begins perideton idolothuton oidemen hotipantes gnosin echomen. He gnosis phusioi, he di agape oikodome. Etis doke egnokenaiti, upo egno ekathos de gnonai. Eidetis agapa ton theon, hutos in gnostai hupau tu. Perites brosios un ton idolothuton, oidemen hoti uden idolon in cosmo, kai hoti udes theos eme heis. Kai ga aper asin legomenoi theoi, eti en ureno, eti epigeis, hosper asin theoi poloi kai kurioi poloi. Hemin heis theos hopante, exutapanta kai hemas es auton, kai heis kurios Jesus Christos, dihu topanta kai hemas diautu. The Greek, as usual, as Paul gets more worked up, the Greek gets slightly more tricky. So it begins here, but concerning the things sacrificed to idols, that is, food sacrificed to idols. Oidemen, we know, hoti, that, we all know that, echomen, we have gnosis. Now he's using this term, I think, in the sense of some sort of deeper Christian knowledge. Hegnosis, phusioi, this is that verb phusio, which we've had before, meaning puffed up with pride. So knowledge puffs up with pride. It's just a present. It's phusio, and it's the o plus the epsilon iota ending contracts to an oi. So knowledge puffs up with pride, but agape, love, oikodome, builds up. Paul often uses this word oikodomio in the sense of to build, to give encouragement, and so on. Edify is another translation of this, which is just simply really putting it into Latin. So love edifies, probably is good here. 8 is, if someone thinks, egnokenai, this is a perfect, from ginosko, to know. It's got that kenai ending added onto the root is gno. Of course, cognate with our word know, K-N-O-W. So if someone thinks that they know something, and there's a variant reading here, upo, he does not know. Now this is slightly awkward here. It's literally, not yet does he know how it is necessary to know. That is, he does not yet know, kathos, in what manner he ought to know. Literally, it is necessary. It's that day plus the infinitive. But if someone agapa, present from agapao, if someone loves God, That man, egnostai, this is a passive, a perfect passive. Don't see this very often actually. It's a perfect passive from ginosko. That man has been known, hup autu, by him, that is, by God. So the hutos, I think, refers back to the tis. So if someone loves God, that man has been known by him, has been recognized perhaps by him, that is, by God. Therefore, regarding brosios, this is the genitive from third declension feminine noun brosis, connected, as I mentioned before, with bibrosko, to eat. But therefore, regarding the food which has been offered to idols, here we're getting it used as an adjective, oidomin, we know hoti that. Now, he leaves out lots of verbs to be here, and I think we have to supply the verbs to be here, that there is no idol. Now, here's the nominative form, an eidolon, it's a neuter, I'm going with udin. So there is nothing, there is no idol in the world, and that, so this is all after we know that there is no God, ame, except one. So we know that, it's almost, literally, we know that an idol is nothing in the world, and that no one, there is no God except one. Kaiga a pair, a sin legominoi. Now this is again slightly tricky here. So for I pair is something like even if there are those being called gods, whether they are in heaven or whether they are upon the earth. Hosper, something like perhaps as indeed there are many gods, understand, in heaven, and many lords, that must be many masters, many lords, understand, perhaps upon the earth. So even though people believe this, but for us, understand, there is one God, the Father, ex who, from whom, panta, tapanta, all things, you've got to understand, exist here. You've got to supply lots of the verbs to be here. So, through whom all things exist, and understand, through whom also, hemes, we, understand, exist, eis auton, in him. The Greek is very elliptic here. And one Lord Jesus Christ, through whom, tapanta, all things exist, and we exist, di autu, through him, because of him. Perhaps through him, I should say. So a slightly elliptic expression here with this. Alla uk en passin he gnosis, tines de te sun athea. And it goes to the next page. So the, again, slightly awkward expression here. It's something like, but knowledge is not among all in passin. So this is the knowledge is referring to. So this knowledge that there is only one God and there is only one Lord is not among everybody. So in other words, some people still think that there are idols and lords and things. Tines, certain ones, sun athea is familiarity with. It's got connected with our word ethos, and it has the sense of custom or familiarity. So certain ones, by their familiarity or by their custom, and it's taking a genitive after that sun, and that's going with the eidolon. So, and the heos arti up until now. So by their custom, or by their familiarity with the idol, heos arti, up to this point, they will eat. Now we get a very odd use of hos here, and the Greek is fairly obscure. It must mean they eat as though knowing that the food had been offered to idols. It's literally they eat as having been offered to idol. So they eat something which as though it had been offered to an idol. We could just, before the hos, we could supply some verb of knowing. So knowing that, understand the food is that which has been sacrificed to an idol. Kai he sun edes is our tone, and now we get the conscience here is taken up with this feminine participle usa from the verb to be, and then the adjective asthenes, meaning weak. So their conscience, being weak, molunatai, passive, well, normally means is defiled. That's probably what it is here. So their conscience, being weak, is defiled. Broma de hemas u parastese to theo uti ion me phagomen husterumatha uti ion phagomen perisuomen blepete de me pos he ekusia humon haute proskoma genetai tois asthenesi. Ean ga tis ide se to ekon to gnosin en idoleo katakai menon. Uki he sun edes as autu asthenusantos oikodome thesatai es to ta idolathuta esthien. And I might just pause it there. Now the subject here is broma, which is food. The verb here is it's parastase, which looks like it's a future from parahistemi, to stand beside, and it has the more vaguer meaning here to commend. So, but food does not commend us to God. In other words, a God couldn't care less what we eat. Food does not commend us to God. We get uti, neither if we might not eat it, husterumatha, are we worse off. So we're no worse. We are no worse off if we might not eat it. This is an aorist subjunctive here from estheo. The aorist is ephagon, and we're getting phagomatha, which is the subjunctive after ian may. So neither are we worse off if we do not eat it, nor if we do eat it. Perisuomen must mean something like we are better off. Perisuo is to abound, so to get lots of things. So perhaps do we gain something if we do eat it? So the whole section here means neither if we do not eat it are we worse off. We worse off, nor are we better off if we do eat it. Blepete de me pos. Now this is blepete. Paul uses this. It means look. It means sort of be careful. When you see blepete, it's an imperative. So it's something like be careful lest. Pose is that indefinite pose you see from the accent back here. It's the enclitic pose. Lest perhaps or perchance he exousia hemon, that this authority of yours to eat whatever you like might become a proskoma, a stumbling block, tois asthenesi, to those who are weak. pros comma, it's connected with copto. Copto is to hit. So a pros comma is something you sort of hit your foot against, and it's used as an abstract idea, a stumbling block, something that you trip over. So beware lest in some way the authority which you have over yourself really might become a pros comma, a stumbling block to those who are weak. This is a dative plural from asthenes, which is an adjective, and this is just the dative plural here, third declension, to those who are weak. Ean gar tis ide, ean gar tis ide se ekon to gnosin en, and I think I did read that bit before. So for if someone sees you, now so this is subjunctive from eidon, the root is id, and that's agreeing back with katakamenon. This is reclining, lying down. So in this time the people reclined to eat, they sort of lay down to eat. So if someone sees you reclining in an eidoleon, this is a neuter noun to eidoleon, if you're looking it up. This is just dative of this. An eidoleon is a place where the idol is. So the idol's temple or something. A lot of these words ending in aeon refer to shops or places. You often get in modern Greek words ending with the pantopoleon is a supermarket in modern Greek. So this is the place of idols, so the idol's temple. So for if someone might see you reclining in the temple of the idol, you, the one having gnosis, the one who has knowledge, and now we get a question here expecting the answer yes, surely his conscience, this is the suneidesis, an abstract noun, third declension, surely his conscience, and we get a genitive absolute here, since he is weak, genitive from asthenes, third declension, adjective. So since he is weak, his conscience, oikodomesetai, this is a future passive from this oikodomeo, probably in the sense of to be encouraged, or will be emboldened, will be encouraged. Now we get ace top plus the infinitive, so as to eat, so with the result that he eats, ta idolathuta, the things having been sacrificed to an idol. Apolutai gar ho asthenon ente se gnose haidelphos dihon Christos epethenon, hutos de hamatanontes eis tus adelphus, kai tupton tes auten ten sun edesin, asthenus in eis Christon hematanete, dioper e broma scandalise ton adelphon mu, ume phago cria eis ton iona. Hiname ton adelphon mu scandaliso. For the one who is weak, this is a participle now from astheneo, not to be confused with asthenes, which is an adjective. This is from the verb astheneo, epsilon contract verb. The one being weak is ruined, well, perishes, comes to grief, might be good here actually. But the one who is weak comes to grief, and this is a funny use of n, but it must be instrumental here, so by your knowledge. And in apposition to that person, the brother, dihon, on account of whom Christ died. Apethenon from apothenesco. Hutos de, in this way, participle, sinning with regard to the brethren, kai tuptontes, now tupto is to strike, Here it must mean or to hit or strike or beat. Here it must be something like wounding the conscience of. So in this way, sinning with regard to the brethren and wounding their conscience, the conscience of them, the one which is weak. So it's a participle from astheneo. Again, variant reading here. This is a participle, feminine participle, agreeing with sone desin. The conscience which is weak. Hamatanate, you are sinning, you plural, are sinning with regard to Christ. Di oper, now this is dia plus hop and then per, on account of which thing, so for which reason, if food causes my brother to stumble, this is from scandalizo, we've had scandal on before, scandalizo is to cause to stumble, so if food causes my brother to stumble, ume plus the subjunctive, in no way will I eat, this is the aorist subjunctive from estheo, in no way will I eat meat, aeston iona, literally under the age, so in other words ever. So no way will I ever eat meat. Hiname, lest I cause my brother to stumble, aorist subjunctive here. It's aorist subjunctive. It looks like a future, but it's the same form as the aorist subjunctive, so it's after hiname, lest I cause my brother to stumble. So perhaps this would be a nice verse for vegetarians and vegans. The point being here is, of course, that today Jews and Muslims have to go to special butchers to obtain kosher and or halal meat. In Paul's day, in the Greek world, it seems to have been the reverse, that most meat on sale would have been previously offered to the gods as part of the sacrifice. Meat was not all that commonly eaten, as much as we do certainly in the West today, and when animals were slaughtered, they had to be slaughtered in a certain way, and the various parts of them offered to the gods, and hence to idols. Hence the early Christians didn't have much choice. If you wanted to eat meat, well, you generally had to eat meat offered to idols, and it may have been difficult to obtain meat otherwise, hence the problem in this particular chapter. And that's the end of chapter 8.